I started covering college football on YouTube back in 2020. There are two players that I have covered more than anyone else on this channel. The first one was Spencer Rattler. He was making his grand entrance to college football back in 2020 and has been in the headlines and in the media and in all my videos for the last 4 years. The second guy that I've covered relentlessly and have heard about for years is DJ Uiagalelei. As a 5-star recruit coming out of St. John Bosco High School, him and Bryce Young were the future of college football in 2021. Bryce Young had redshirted behind Mac Jones in 2020, and DJ had redshirted behind Trevor Lawrence. Both Trevor and Mac went off to the first round, so DJ and Bryce were next up for the two top programs in college football. Bryce Young ended up having a Heisman-level season and eventually became the #1 overall pick. Now as we flash forward a couple of years, DJ flamed out at Clemson, was forgotten at Oregon State, and right as he made his grand entrance back to the college football spotlight, DJ has completely floundered. At Florida State, he is now 0-2, he's been memed relentlessly, and it's getting to the point where I actually feel bad for DJ Uiagalelei. He seems like a really good kid who's just trying to make it work, but it's just not working. Honestly, I think there's a couple things that went wrong for him, and in today's video, I just want to talk about what the heck has gone wrong for DJ Uiagalelei and how he got to this point. I truly think people forget how talented he was in 2020 as a freshman behind Trevor and how much hype he had. He should be in the NFL by now, but instead, he's being booed off the field and people would rather have Brock Glenn be their starting quarterback than DJ. In today's video, we're going to talk about that and more, but before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you want to support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's get started and talk about DJ Uiagalelei. Honestly, I really do feel bad for DJ Uiagalelei. I'm not just saying that because I want to make a clickbait title or because I want to get views, but I feel bad for the guy. When you look at him on the sidelines, he just looks defeated. He's trying to make it work, he's trying to live up to his hype, he's trying to live up to the pedigree he had coming out of high school, but it's just not working. He isn't in the right system, his confidence seems to be a little bit burned, and he just is not getting any help. His offensive line is atrocious at Florida State, his receivers are dropping passes, he has no time to throw, and expectations were completely crippling. Part of that is on him, as he does step into the pocket too much and he does make some dumb throws, but a lot of this could have been avoided. Going back in time, DJ Uiagalelei was the next big thing. Him and Bryce Young were both the future of college football in 2021, as I remember that offseason where they were being talked about relentlessly. DJ was the #2 quarterback in the class of 2020 and was the next big thing behind Trevor Lawrence. Clemson had already signed Deshaun Watson and Trevor, and DJ was going to be the third guy in a row to make it big and go in the first round. Unfortunately, that is not how it has gone. The brightest point of DJ's career was when he was a backup. In 2020, Trevor Lawrence had a positive test, so he was not able to play. DJ had to be thrown into the mix in a road game against Notre Dame, and in that matchup, he had one of the best single games in Clemson football history. He threw for nearly 500 yards and almost defeated a playoff Notre Dame team on the road, who actually had a lot of fans. From there was good reason to believe that DJ was the future, but that game alone was not the only indicator. If you go back to 2018 when he was a junior at St. John Bosco High School, he was literally the USA Today High School Offensive Player of the Year. He had thrown for 3,300 yards and 48 touchdowns. As a senior, he got even better, throwing for 4,200 yards and 48 touchdowns once again, and he was also a phenom baseball player, had incredible height at 6'4", an amazing arm, and every single school in the country wanted him. Alabama at that point had gotten Bryce Young after he had flipped from USC, and honestly, his second biggest offer was Clemson, and they got him. He ended up choosing the Tigers over a late push from Oregon, and DJ was groomed to be the next big thing. As I said, he was immediately the backup in 2020 and had that big game against Notre Dame, but after Trevor went #1 overall to Jacksonville, DJ was next up. Sadly though, it didn't really go according to plan. He ended up throwing for 2,246 yards with 9 touchdowns and 10 picks. We really saw DJ struggle that year against NC State, and that's when I knew he was not the kind of player we all expected him to be, but still Clemson went 10-3, and it was a new system, so you'd have to get used to it. In 2022, he'd opened up the season against Georgia Tech, and in that game he also didn't look very good. He did finish the 2022 campaign with 2,521 yards, and actually had 22 touchdowns. He maybe could have gone off to the NFL and been a late round pick, but instead he wanted a fresh start and wanted to go across the country where his skill set could be better used. He decided to transfer over to Oregon State, where honestly, he he actually picked a team that had a decent fit. Oregon State was a team full of underdogs, and they were definitely a run-first, smash-mouth style football team. DJ ended up throwing for 2,600 yards with 21 touchdowns and 7 picks, and also had 6 more scores on the ground. He led Oregon State to an 8-4 record, and honestly, he should have just stayed for another year. Except Jonathan Smith ended up leaving for Michigan State, Oregon State got left out of the Power 5, and DJ had one more year of eligibility. Again, it wasn't his fault because he lost his coach and Power 5 status, but Oregon State would have been a great place for him to finish his career at. Instead, he decided to enter the transfer portal, where he made an awful decision. In no circumstance should he have gone to Florida State. I know people are going to question me and maybe give me crap for saying that, but DJ was not at the level to go to Florida State. They had just come off a year in which they felt they were getting snubbed at the college football playoff, and Jordan Travis was one of the best quarterbacks in school history. Everything kind of went perfect for them. They had 2 superstar receivers, a really good running back, and a really good quarterback. DJ was not going to be able to replicate that kind of success no matter what he did, and he was stepping into a situation in which he was setting himself up for failure. He was putting himself way too much into the spotlight and was entering a situation in which everything would have to be on him. They'd have to find a new running back, new receivers, some new coordinators, and he'd have to carry all those expectations. That was something that I really didn't think he should have done. When he committed to Florida State, I remember shaking my head and saying he's going to fail there. Not because he didn't have talent or potential, but because he's walking into a really bad scenario. I think if he would have gone to a school similar to something like Oregon State, like maybe if he had gone to Iowa or Wisconsin or Pitt, or just a school that's a little bit more under the radar and maybe runs the ball a little bit more and has a better system, then maybe he could have had a good final year of college football. But I think there are 2 reasons why he decided to go to Florida State. One, he wanted to prove that he was worthy of that 5-star recruiting ranking he had coming out of high school, and he wanted to prove that he could perform at the highest level for a blue blood school. 2, I think he wanted to play in a system which would give him a chance to go to the NFL. Honestly, if he had gone to a school like a Baylor or a Pitt or an Iowa, his NFL dreams would have pretty much been nothing. He wouldn't have been able to put up big enough numbers to justify going to the NFL, and he would have gone undrafted. But if he could go to Florida State and put up big numbers and prove that he had a good arm and that he could play in an NFL style of offense, then he could end up getting drafted. I think those are the 2 reasons why he went to Florida State, and now it has come back to bite him in the worst way possible. So far, DJ has lost both games. Florida State was preseason ranked number 10, and they blew it to Georgia Tech, and he was terrible in that one. And then tonight against Boston College, this was the worst game of his career. He just looked absolutely terrible. Everything was confused, fans were booing, they were chanting "We want Brock," and he just looked so sad and frustrated on the sidelines. At the end of the day, we have to remember these guys are humans too. DJ is a year younger than me, and this guy right now is a laughingstock on social media and college football. It's really sad to see, and we do have to remember these guys are humans, but at the same time, he just should not have gone to Florida State. The offensive line is absolutely terrible, and because of that, they can't run the ball, he has no time, and he has no confidence. He's also learning a new system, there's a whole new set of receivers, and it's just absolutely terrible. Also, with how Florida State handled last season's situation with the playoff, and with them getting a ton of hype that some thought was unworthy, I guarantee you Georgia Tech and Boston College had a ton of bulletin board material and wanted to come out and beat them and prove them wrong. DJ right now is in big trouble of getting benched. I'm not quite sure what Mike Norvell's going to do, but I'm sure at some point they're going to put in either Brock Glenn or their true freshman Luke Kromenhoek. Kromenhoek was a near 5-star recruit and has a ton of hype, and at this point, Florida State and Norvell might be better off plugging in a different option. If the offensive line is truly this bad, nothing's really going to change, but at the same time, you may have to switch something else, and it would be humiliating for DJ to get benched. That is why I decided to make today's video, because I just feel bad for the guy. He's been trying so hard for years, and it's not like he was just some scrub. He had nearly 8,000 passing yards in his career, was the player of the year and was a 5-star, and even showed glimpses in 2020. So it's not like this dude was just some overrated scrub that came out of nowhere and was getting ridiculous hype for no reason. Like, he was actually good. And I think ultimately, the expectations crushed him and his confidence was shot, and that is why he's in the spot he's in today. He just doesn't seem to have it mentally. He seems to be overthinking almost every throw he has, and when you look at him on the sideline, he looks like he's defeated. Honestly, I would not want to be in his shoes, and I do genuinely feel bad for him. On this video, I'm trying not to rip on him at all, and I ask you guys to try not to rip on him either. He's definitely a good human being who's just trying to do his best, and it's just not working. No matter how many times you try to put a square peg into a round hole, it just won't work, and that's what it feels like with DJ. At this point, he has one of 2 options. He can keep trying to make it work at the quarterback position and keep going and keep churning on, or, as some people have said on Twitter, he should just switch to tight end. He has the height to be an NFL tight end. He has the height and build to be an NFL tight end, and if he can just improve his 40 time, honestly, he could probably get drafted and play that position in the NFL. At this point, his chances of playing quarterback at the next level are near zero unless he completely bounces back this season. And honestly, this story to me is just very sad. While I got tired of hearing about DJ in 2020 and 2021, now as we flash forward to September of 2024, I just feel bad for him. I genuinely want to see him succeed. I genuinely want to see him live up to his 5-star status, and I genuinely want him to be happy and successful in the sport of football. I felt the same way towards Spencer Rattler. I got sick and tired of hearing about his name every 5 seconds, but when he actually got good at South Carolina, got humbled, and kept working hard, I was super happy for him when he saw success there, and I'm really happy that he's in the NFL and has a chance. I don't know if DJ will follow that similar path, and I don't know if he even has time or the opportunity to do so, but I will be rooting for his success, and a lot of times, it's a cautionary tale to these athletes who are really hyped up coming out of high school. You never know if you're going to make it, and it's just really sad to see. I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Why do you think DJ Uiagalelei has struggled so much in college? What can he do to fix this situation, and what other players should I cover next? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.